6:30. I'm like, oh shoot. I just told the people I have at 7, like, I'm going to be a few minutes late, guys. But not to
Well,
worry.
and I think that the Twitter Spaces it's going to work. We're going to get it to work.
You just can't have a two-way conversation with it.
Yeah. How many people can you have speaking at once? Like,
You can have 2 other co-hosts and then like a bunch of speakers as you bring them up.
okay, I got you. Word. Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to, we can add people here in Discord if you want. We could go on the stage with which would
No,
like ping people, or we can just do it up, and
we just do it up as we normally do.
let's do
We,
it,
we
man.
just go with the show goes on.
Hey, man, let's do it. Let's do it. I dig the topic list that you shared, bro. So like, just
Yeah,
tear
yeah, for
into it,
sure.
man. Yeah, go for it. Hey, Billy, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm ready, man. We're gonna go live on YouTube here, and it's all you, bro. Um, pass the mic.
And we're live.
We are live, sir.
All
Indeed.
right, all right. Okay. First off, apologize for my wrong advertising. I'm an idiot. It's supposed to be 6:30 instead of 6 o'clock. So apologies for anybody that was waiting on the sidelines for that. If you hear this later, I apologize. That's what you get for listening to me. But
No sweat, man.
and then for those that haven't heard this show before, I will make fun of everyone, everything under the sun. I think the guys at South Park said it best. If you pick and choose what you make fun of, then who's the one really creating problems. So I think everything's open and to be made fun of. So if you're very sensitive, go ahead and like turn this off now. So, yeah, that's Billyjitsu late night. Okay.
And you had me at South Park, brother.
Yeah, yeah. So just gonna start it off with obviously couple things, couple announcements. Minerva Wallet, they've been having an ongoing promotion. They're giving away NFTs. NFBs have donated X-Dye Tigers. I think I don't want to say Unstoppable. Something Domains is they're giving out like a huge promotion. I use Minerva Wallet. I think it's very innovative and cool. So if you haven't been following the Minerva Wallet promotion, download the wallet, use it. You will like it. It is a little different than MetaMask, but they're doing cool things. I definitely suggest using them. I use it for the streams because I can see my streams live. So definitely check them out. They're extending the promotion. You might see me spamming on Twitter here and there showing my NFTs. So definitely check them out.
Man, I got it up on screen here. So yeah, can you walk us through really quick? What is the promotion going on here, and how much longer do you think people have to get involved, or is there a
I think
deadline?
about a week or 2 more weeks, they're extending the promotion. Every time they throw out an NFT, or you basically screenshot your collection that you use Minerva Wallet or what you use Minerva Wallet for, and you have a chance to win like 25 of the NFTs they have giving away. So as they start spamming Twitter, and we'll get coordinated through the NFB's project as well. As they start coordinating like NFB giveaway or XI Tigers giveaway, we're just going to retweet it so people see it and it gets a little bit more vision.
Yeah, dude, you can see the NFBs there in the video. It's sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So it's something that unfortunately their first week they didn't get a lot of views, but definitely want to help because I think it's an awesome wallet. I use it personally along with MetaMask, but I use Minerva as well. And I think what they're doing is really innovative.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we're hitting this up actually. We got a video coming out for the DeFi ecosystem as well as other sort of like, we include the Minerva farming streams on that one. They got a lot of really cool stuff. Agreed, man. They're ahead of the curve.
There's some alpha stuff in there that I'm not going to go into, but they got some cool stuff in the works too. So it's always good to get ahead of the game. And then also local in my area, in the neighborhood, April 30th, there's an Ola Metaverso local convention. They'll be talking about NFTs, artists, and stuff like that. I am trying to get a spot on the panel because a lot of the speakers are like onboarders and everything, but I'm more the disruptor. I'm the anti-VC. I'm the anti-everything. So hoping to get a little bit on there. So I'll let you guys know how that works out. But you know me, I don't keep my mouth shut, so we'll see how that goes.
What's tell me again, what is the event again?
It's Ola Metaverso. It's like an onboarding, kind of to get. It's in LA, so East LA, so a lot of Latinos onboarded onto into Web3. A big barrier that obviously a lot of countries have is the you got to learn English to learn Web3 in a sense. So they're trying to do a lot of translations. You know how I've been trying to promote One Hype TV to do a lot more Spanish content. Well, they're out here doing it locally in a sense.
Oh
So
yeah.
either I stand out from the outside and it's like, hey, or I become involved. So I figured I'd get more involved and play a part in that.
Sweet. Yeah. Holametaverso.io. Very cool, man. And this is in Cali here. Um,
Yeah, like in the LA area. So it's minutes away from where I live. So I'm like, all right. I mean, if I could walk there, then why I should go.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. So those are the kind of like the new latest things that are coming on. What else is happening with me? I just went on through a hackathon with ETH Global, which was pretty fun. Again, learned a lot of cool things, and I created a thing that I've been wanting to work on, the Paper Hands DAO. So that was kind of fun. Basically, the idea was, you create an NFT to join the DAO, and then you have to stake your NFT to be participate in the DAO. But the catch is the longer you mint it, when you decide to cash out, you actually have to burn your NFT, so you lose your vote. And the longer you hold your NFT, the more your superfluid stream comes to you. So, like if you hold it for 2 days, let's say you get a token a day, you'll only get 2 tokens. But if you hold it for 30 days and you burn it, then you'll get 30 tokens a day, in a sense. So it pays you to basically stay in the game. And then I didn't have enough times. Like if you contribute or you voted or something, then it gave you more points towards your flow or anything like that. But it was just an idea that I liked, and when I presented it, a lot of people seemed to like the idea. It's something that I may actually create for the NFBs as a total experiment as to how people react, who are the paper hands and who are the diamond hands in a sense. But that is all speculating based on what Gnosis votes for the agave hack. So I'm still kind of waiting on that too to see like where they go with that.
Right, right on, man. Yo, that sounds so dope though for, as an operator thinking about ways to, embed incentivizations through NFTs in the ways that you're iterating on. It's really cool, man. It's exciting. Um,
Yeah, I think it'll be fun, and just basically have a governance vote. If someone's exploiting him, say fuck him. Let's kill his stream.
Well, yeah, and that the longer you hold it, it's this sort of rep that's built into it as well, right? Almost sort of depending on the point at
Yeah,
which you can
yeah,
access it.
for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I forced myself to learn so much, and I kind of did it solo, which I'm semi proud of and upset about because it was a Friday to Sunday kind of thing, and I was signed up, ready to go. I was even like hitting people up, "Hey, you want to do this?" And then I found out I have to go have dinner with my mom Friday night, and then my nephew's birthday is Saturday. It's like, well, shit, when am I going to pull this off? So I was pretty impressed of how fast I did it in this short amount of time. I was literally up till like 4 in the morning on Saturday, like finishing this shit up, but I got it done. I even learned the graph on top of it too. So I was like, shit, I
hell
did
yeah.
this, and I learned the graph. I'm like, oh shit, I did a lot. So whenever I put myself under the pressure, it seems to be when I do my best. I guess pressure makes diamonds, but eventually I'm going to crack.
Please don't, sir. Do you
Oh yeah.
have is your project like on their site? Can we flash it up on screen here, or is this sort of still under
You know
wraps,
what?
man?
No, it's up there. I think I shared it somewhere, but I can't remember. I'm gonna have to dig that out. As I'm digging it out, I'm also, as crazy as it sounds, I'm also joining the Near Certified Developer Program. I had an opportunity to check it out, and I was like, "All right, cool." So then I took like the first course on it, and this happened on the same day at the hackathon. So like I'm doing two things at the same time. So that's also in the works as well too.
Okay, so they got this near university. Is that I got this up on screen right now? Is this sort of the portal to what you're doing for the
Yeah,
certification?
yeah. There's a lot of sub interfaces and like with things like that. But basically, you want to become like I'm trying to become the developer. You can become an
Right.
advocate, you can be an educator, you can be a lot of different things. But I'm trying to be the developer.
Very cool.
And I wish I had this project on hand with me somewhere, but I will find it for you very soon.
What's the name?
But yeah,
Tell me the name again. I'll see if I can pull it
oh,
up here for you, man.
it's the ETH Global Paper Hands DAO.
Okay, I'm gonna Google
But
around
as we
for it,
have
man.
this dead
Go for it.
space, yeah, we'll go
Hey,
on for
just
a couple topics, yeah, about like what's happening in the space and what's going on. I mean, the biggest one for me that has my eyes focused on the prize is the I don't want to say the attack on MakerDAO, but the attack on MakerDAO, the 4 pool versus 3 pool. DAI, I'm going to say, has about $9 billion of liquidity. It's over collateralized. It used to be backed by ETH only, and then they started opening up other things for collateralization. Now they joke it's called wrapped USDC because USDC is now collateral on it as well. But in retrospect, USDT and USDC have about $50 billion in liquidity. So they've grown exponentially past what DAI has done. And now you have these, new, stable coins that have kind of come up from, random place. And we still don't know the stability of them. But Terra, Do Kwon, and I'm really not trying to be racist, but I took Taekwondo for like 7 years. So like I always want to say Kwon Do instead of Do Kwon. It's just how it works. And then the guys at Frax Finance, they are trying to team up now because the way it works with Curve is like you become a competitive against each other. We want to incentivize your pool, so you put up the bribes and you pay it out. So like Terra and Frax have both been doing that. And so like now they're like, well, why are we going to compete when we can share the pool and share the liquidity? So now they're proposing, let's do, instead of having a 3 pool, let's do a 4 pool with USDC, USDT, Terra, and Frax. So now they're kicking out DAI because they're saying DAI hasn't really been doing much, and they're enjoying the mass liquidity of Curve because that's literally the biggest stablecoin pool in existence in the DeFi world. So they are saying, okay, let's kick them out. They're not doing anything innovative. Let's do a 4 pool, and then let's enjoy the liquidity. And now we get rewards on 4 pool, and now we can join forces. And now we don't have to fight each other for the bribes. We can have one big large pool, and everybody enjoys it, which is cool but dangerous because I still don't know how I feel about Terra and how I feel about Frax Finance. I don't know of any stablecoin that kind of bribes you with 20% of their own, token to keep it going. Like we've seen how high APRs work for everything. So it's just not, I don't know. And Frax Finance is again, an interesting way, but Frax Finance makes money by dumping Curve. So it's they make money by destroying the very platform they're working to build on, in a sense. So they're kind of like eating themselves.
Cannibalizing. DeFi cannibalism. Yeah. You heard it here first, folks.
So, it's like how well do these business models? And, MakerDAO is one of the OGs. They've been around. They made the, DAI, one of the first decentralized coin. And I'm a Gnosis DAO that's based off the DAI token. And when things got scary for me, when things were crashing for a while, I felt safest in DAI. USDT has the ability to freeze your tokens. USDC does as well, and they're upgradable. And they both showed their hand when it came down to decentralization.
Man, I just got to throw this out here. And I think Solar, has joined us here, and GM, my man. But I just got to say, on screen right now, I have the Defiant. The Defiant declares, Billy, they declare Terra's Do Kwon takes aim at DAI with pool of 4 stablecoins. Now, because I can't resist here. If you look, folks, at the date stamp, this would be April 7th, which was last Thursday. And for the record, and you can check this because we have everything live and recorded on YouTube, it was in fact on the 4th, 3 days, front-running the Defiant by 3 days. Billy, what was it, live stream? It was on the live stream on the 4th where you raised this. So just for the record, you literally heard it here first. Billy, my man. Ahead of Defiant by 3 days, bro. Let's make it for real.
Do Kwon called me from Korea. He said, "Hey, I got a collect call from Korea because the motherfucker wouldn't even pay me to pay the long distancing." And I said, "All right, let me take it." Do Kwon said, "Hey, man, I'm taking out DAI. Get out."
by my hand, die will die. I just couldn't resist that shit.
So it's such a crazy attack. Like, okay, so are the Maker DAO guys going to wake up? Are they going to do something? Or are they going to let it ride? Because the Maker guys, I think hour per hour, have done the most innovative stuff in the day,
Yep.
and they have a lot of cred with corporate in a sense, or globalization. Like they're trying to onboard corporations onto DAI. They have a lot of faith in the DAI. UST is still new, but it's making a lot of money, and now they're playing this backed by Bitcoin and backed by other things. So I'm like, people have made their money and they're happy with it. But when the shit goes down, like we're in inflation right now. We're in 8.5% inflation, which I think is a bullshit number. The consumer price index. I have no idea where they get this number from, because I made a joke on Twitter earlier, like, are they shopping at the same Costco I'm at? Because my shit's expensive. Okay. Are they getting like welfare tokens in a government spot? Like, oh, okay, everything's cool, only 8.5%. But I mean, we're dealing with the crazy inflation now. So like, if your stablecoin rates aren't above 8.5, you're losing in a sense, unfortunately. But like I don't know, like, what's the end game for this? Like, they destroy DAI, let's say, then they become the other token, and then what happens? It's like, what's the end game?
Yeah, and I definitely think that at a certain point, megalomania just takes over, right? I mean, maybe not, but it is sort of this. Yeah, I think it's easy to overestimate the size of the space, right? And so it seems like DAI shouldn't die, right? Like you need to have multiple potential backstops for centralization, and yeah, I don't, like I said, what is your feels as having developer insights and all that into the Terra ecosystem and Do Kwon?
I don't know yet, honestly. Again, bridges are our biggest exploit that we've been having, and Terra has already depegged once, and they made a few phone calls and they brought it back to peg. Okay, however that happened, I don't know, but can they keep making phone calls if it does depeg? Is it backed on Bitcoin? What if it crashes? We don't know. I think that's my biggest concern with these new tokens, is like, there's been stable coins before and they've all failed, but they haven't been as big as Frax and UST. So the Terra network, if it's kind of like USDT, if USDT fails, it would be like devastating. Even if you never use USDT, it would be devastating to all of crypto. Like, you're talking about billions of dollars gone from the space in seconds. And UST is getting very close to that place where if they fail, it will hurt crypto as a whole. It's not like, oh, these guys lost money and they depegged like Iron Finance or something. This is pretty big now. Like, they're getting in a sense where if they fail, it becomes very dangerous to the space.
It's existential.
Exactly. So it's this. I'm watching it, and a lot of people that made money are very happy with it. And Terra and Frax Finance are two of the biggest holders of CVX, which does the voting for the pools. So I'm pretty sure it's going to pass. And 3 pool will still exist, but the question is, now that there's 4 pool and there's more incentives, will people still use it? And that's kind of the question. It's like, well, do I go where the money is, where it's kind of shaky, or do I feel safe and secure with these? And that's kind of the question of the day.
Interesting, man. Yeah, I'm searching through the chat here because I know you dropped a link to the. Look like
to the curve
snap, yeah.
Yeah, that's their idea of like where curve is and their thoughts on it. And again, they bring out the idea that Frax purely dumps on them every time they get a reward. They dump, and that's their business model. Their business model is basically earn rewards and use the bribes, and then use those bribes to just sell and then buy back. So why they make a lot of money? They're making money by cannibalizing on the platform itself. Terra is kind of in that same aspect as well, but it's how well did these guys maintain money? If Curve was out of the mix, how would they survive?
Right.
But anyways, not to be all doom and gloom and shit, but that's what I'm keeping an eye on, and it'd be interesting to see what happens. In crypto, everything fast forward in ideas, so I fear a bank run. I fear anything that may have anything, because it's really big, that would hurt the space, and then all the NFT holders will cry. Like What happened? What happened? I thought my ape was safe. But on a different note, ERC 721R has been dropped, and that's an interesting one. I saw it yesterday, and I looked through it, looked at the contract. Basically, this contract doesn't do any optimization like the 721A. This one's all about consumer refunds in a sense, the anti-rug contract. So, like if you've ever minted anything, you mint your token, you spend your ETH, and then you get an NFT, and the transaction's done. You know, whether it was a scam or not, there's nothing you can do about it. You did a one-handed transaction. What ERC 721R wants to do is basically give you a return date range in a sense to be like, hey, we're the anti-ruggers. So if you mint your contract, you get your NFT. If you're not happy with your NFT in that set amount of time, you can send your NFT back to the contract and it will refund your ETH. Won't cover your gas, but it'll refund your ETH, which is kind of an interesting, yeah, it's an interesting idea. I mean, when I first heard of it, and I thought it was like, okay, this is going to get exploited like crazy. Because I'm like, well, I'm already thinking, how can I send a fake NFT and get all that ETH back, you know, or how can I call this multiple times? Yeah, and then I kind of like the idea of it, of being able to do refunds, but now I think this is really going to kill a lot of projects because a lot of projects are built off hype. Because you know you want that NFT to sell out, and then you want to be able to flip it. You know, I mean, you get the community that's all about the art or about the community and all that, but majority of these sales really happen with a lot of people trying to flip. You know, they're trying to turn 500 into 5,000 in an hour or so. So now that you have these refunds, if you don't sell out and you have no chance to flip, you could always get your refund. That just hurts the contract or the creators on their own, because now they don't even have a chance to sell out because not everybody's returning it because they didn't sell out in time.
Right, right.
So, I mean, again, I wouldn't use this contract. I'm going to wait for a few other projects to successfully, because when you have a two-way transaction, there's always room for exploit. So, you know, it's not audited or anything like that. So I'm just going to see. It was horrible to have 100 ETH and you have like this 2 week, tradable thing, and some hacker just comes in and just swipes everything and then, destroys your project.
It will happen, right? I mean, like
this type. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. It's just a matter of time before someone finds an exploit in it. So it's a good concept. It's a cool concept, but it defeats the purpose of the original idea of transactions are final in a sense. I know there's a problem with NFTs and scams and that, but I would rather have a system where, even a snapshot or something that the community can vote with their NFTs, and then they'll be able to withdraw. The owner of the contract will be able to withdraw, a certain amount of money if they prove that they're working on something, some kind of implementation on that versus a refund. But you bought into it, and buyer's remorse is real. But if you bought into it, it shouldn't be refunded back, because it kind of kills the concept of this whole crypto thing of payment systems that everybody's been pushing. But being able to vote out, like, even if it was a scam project, then it's like, you know what, then nobody has the money and it's locked in this contract forever. If you can vote that in, I would dig that better.
Yeah, I hear that, man. Yeah. It seems less likely to be exploited anyway, right?
Yeah. If I can't have it, I don't want you to have it either. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it, But and then they had a NFT Miami, Bitcoin Miami. That happened a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna tell you this, T Wells. If I'm in Miami, I ain't going to no NFT meetups. So you're gonna catch me on the beach, okay? It's like Vegas. if we're landing on Friday, you're not gonna see me till Sunday, okay? So I don't know how you get anything done over there, but good feedback. I didn't see anything super innovative, but Bitcoin Miami is always a disastrous show. They're always anti anything else other than Bitcoin, but I do agree with the decentralization. I just don't like the flashy stuff that they do, or that who's that Max something, the guy that rips money.
Oh God, Max Kaiser.
Yeah, there you go. He sounds like a villain, like a fucking Bond villain or some shit. A Max Kaiser and shit. Steal all your dirty fiat.
Oh, it was Solana Miami. This one with the bomb threat that got called in at the hackathon. You hear about that?
Yeah. People are crazy, man, But NFT New York is coming up in June too, so it'd be interesting to see what's going on there. If you catch me in New York, T Wells, I'm gonna come back all lined up. I'm gonna have some Timberlands and shit. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, T Wells, meet a papi,"
Yeah. Should drive up there. And then again, I'm like much of an excuse being on the East Coast here, but yeah, New York. I can only sort of tolerate the downtown New York for a certain period of time, I guess.
It's a cool spot. Like when I go visit New York, my wife is from New York, so I'm always roasting her. So hey, New York people, don't come at me. I don't want to have any like Tupac, Biggie beef over here. Okay, but my wife's pretty good in New York, so she used to have that hardcore like Italian mafia. Give me some coffee, give me that. But yeah, New York is cool. Like it's a fun. Like if you're in Manhattan and like you're 20 or something, it's fun to like live in like the ghetto or something. But after a while, it's like, nah, I'm good. But the walking's cool and people are healthier there. I'll give them that for sure.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, and this is the Super Bowl of NFTs. They're saying, okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of money in New York, which is actually crazy that there's so much crypto stuff happening in New York because they're like the most anti-crypto state in like the whole universe. Like
the
what the
epicenter,
fuck?
Man. Fuck Wall Street.
Yeah, it's like Wall Street has such a pull over there. Like, there's nothing you can get done in New York or anything. Like, oh, crypto in New York is like horrible. It's like all the shit happens in New York. I'm like, what? I don't get it, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of new stuff that's happening on there. And then, gosh, CBDCs. That seems to be the big problem now. Like they keep pushing and they keep pushing, and people are for it. But man, I just all I see is danger, man. That's it.
Somewhat seems inevitable, though. It's almost like that is the price you pay for true mass adoption, is the introduction of CBDCs. Maybe I'm too pessimistic, but I don't know.
No, I believe they are going to roll it out and people will welcome it, especially old people or like
people.
Gosh, yeah, old people, or like the marketing guy that's 50 years old that doesn't trust the new four pool from Do Kwon and it's like, all right, well, CBDCs, well, now it's FDIC insured and I can get a slightly better rate than my bank account.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
The FDIC risk is to cover smart contract exploits in the 21st century.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden people are going to join on board because, oh, this is cool. But then, for most people it's not. But then all of a sudden you try to spend your what is it, your Biden dollars, and then all of a sudden you go to Mexico and they're going to say, oh, your IP is out of range, buddy. You can't spend these here. Oh, you donated to a cause that was for Venezuela or for Russia. Yeah. You can't. You're now frozen. And that's the concern. Like as long as you follow the rules and you comply, then your life is good. The moment you do something that's not in the norm, well, now they're going to make your life hard. And that's where people don't see it and people don't realize it until they get affected by it.
Yeah, 100%, man. People are, well, and it's we can sort of see that in advance because we understand more about the technology and what's possible. But I think most people, as you're saying, they don't realize. Eric Voorhees, I'm trying to find this tweet, but he had the best one, which was CBDCs shall henceforth be known as panopticoins. I thought that was a good crystallization. Yeah. Panopticoins.
It's such a crazy thing that people don't realize. I think we spoke about it before, but like people don't care about centralization until it affects them. I work in the IT world, so I see how log in with Facebook and log in with Google affects people because that's all they logged in for, like for everything they do, and then they change their phone and they forgot their Facebook password. Well, now they just got fucked for everything that they use because they can no longer log into anything and they get locked out of everything because of one centralized service. Yep. So imagine if that was your bank account and all of a sudden everything you've worked for and that's your money, you earned it, but because they have control of it, you have no access to it. It's like the ATM. Let's say you have $100 million in the bank and then you need permission to get your own money. It's your money.
Right. Well, and it's, yeah, man.
Oh, you got to fill out this form or we have to report this, and like, well, why? Why can't I gamble in California? Like, why can't I do bets online? Like, why can't I bet on a UFC, but I can drive 6 hours away? I drive slow to Vegas, but I drive 6 hours to Vegas and then I can. All of a sudden, just because I changed my location is because I drove. what kind of stupid rule is that? It's like these rules that don't make sense. And who knows what new rules we'll have? Oh, you ate too much meat now, so you can only have 6 ounces of meat per week, and now your tokens are frozen. Who knows what kind of stupid shit is? And people would say, "Oh, this is crazy," and I would have said this is crazy until the government showed their hand with how they handled Russia, how they handled Canada. Like when you start defying their narrative or you start making them look bad, they will do everything in their power to regain that control.
Yeah, it's true. And it's, I heard a lot of people talking about, oh, you see this clear alignment between the Fed's, messaging earlier this year and then the more recent executive order from Biden. And so they're clearly on the same page. And it's like, oh, it's the next phase is the research, whatever that means, right, on the topic of CBDCs. And a lot of people think that's going to come back and be a whole big no, let's not do it. And I don't think that's true. Like, I get the sense that the opposite is true. I think that actually there's a lot of academics that are really interested in this because they're in an ivory tower and making all sorts of altruistic assumptions, you know what I mean, about what's now possible with programmable money. But we're thinking about what's really the more likely outcomes, which are much more dystopian. But I guess I'm trying to say, if the expectation, in my personal opinion, if the expectation is, oh, this research period is going to return as a big no, and they're going to absolutely turn this whole thing on its head and say we're not going to pursue it, I feel like the opposite is more likely. I think that they're going to produce a document that's going to provide a pretext or whatever for them to enter and do this thing. I don't know. What do you think, man? China's already doing it, right? So
yeah, and I'm not sure if you saw that Twitter post or anything like that, but literally it's happening as we speak. I think I even reshared it. But I mean, right now there's a lockdown in Shanghai and people cannot leave their houses. There's literally drones doing facial recognition that if they catch you outside breaking the rules, they automatically deduct money from your account without any, you can't do anything to stop it. They literally deduct it from your account. So it's like, it's kind of like, I forget what that movie is. But yeah. It's like, it's insane. Like, this government make these wild ass rules. There's, I don't know the truth of like how much lack of food there is, but if you're locked in the house, it's pretty crazy. You go crazy after a week or so. We've all experienced it because of lockdown, but it's like, like who makes these rules and obviously there's more citizens than there are government officials. So like, you're being forced to comply because they're taking away the one thing that lets you eat, and they're controlling you by that. And once you give up that control, then, then the world is whoever's in charge.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, if you want to see the most dystopian outcome, you can just look and see what the Chinese Communist Party does. Pretty much.
It's so crazy. That's what the thing is. If something can be abused, you got to be ready for it. If someone can make money by, putting other people at disadvantage, that's it's going to happen. If someone sees an opportunity and has the connections to do so, it will 100% happen. Look at the CPI. Nobody knew what the CPI was going to be until this morning, right? But how many government people inside knew exactly what was going to happen before we knew it? And they made the moves before we could. This is what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to be open, decentralized. And so these things can't happen. This is what we're fed up. This is what cryptocurrency was designed to do, to be open and honest and mutable. When you have these other options where you can hide or control other people, well, that defeats the purpose. Then why not just use cash, which is hard to control in a sense.
Yeah, it really worries me. I mean, it has for a long time. I would say like 18 months ago when you had this, the beginning of this, or maybe even a year, I guess now, where you had the zeitgeist of inflation, and on one side of that is clearly, yeah, the government's going to downplay it, but the other side is in this larger context of quote unquote inflation happening. Of course, corporations are going to exploit that and jack up prices, right, in the name of, oh, well, inflation is happening. So they can essentially like squeeze out larger margins out of the hide of consumers in this larger narrative, like regardless of the numbers, right? It actually doesn't matter. If there's an inflation narrative, they can just flay people alive, hypothetically, right? So it's like this combination. Consumers just cross in the crosshairs between, maybe failed monetary policy and corporate profiteering, right? It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. And like I would love to one day have like everything open so you can see how many profits are being made. And then you can just say, no, fuck you.
Well, I
It
mean,
probably will
they're all
never happen.
posting. They're all. I mean, all these corporations are posting fucking record profits, man.
Yeah,
Right? So,
yeah. So I don't get it.
yeah, yeah. We're getting screwed though, right?
Well, I mean, and this is why I believe there's a big shift, and why so many, like, in the developer side, I got so many people in Web 2 looking to break away from where they're at to go to Web 3, and you got to ask yourself, why are so many people leaving? Why are people like flooding over to Web 3? I mean, obviously they're looking for the quick rich, but they see it's a different environment, and this is what I see, like, for like TikTokers or YouTubers. I mean, people, I think it's cringe. Honestly, most of the stuff is pretty bad, but there's YouTube kids making more money than both of you and me combined, in a
Yeah,
sense.
man.
Yeah, man. They found a way to make money a different way than doing the 9 to 5, and they killed it. They found a new way to do it. They found a totally different way of saying, fuck you, old man. I'm not going to follow your system and work into your way because you fucked up the game. I have to
Yep.
work full-time job. My wife has to work full-time job, and we can barely make ends meet playing your game, or I can go and stream on YouTube for a few hours a day and live my life and have fun and say fuck you at the same time.
Yeah, man.
That's they switched the game up, and that's a generation gap. Like, damn, I don't have to go through Fox Network to advertise. Now I can do YouTube. But now YouTube is like, all right, now we're taking the game. So now we're switching up. Okay, now I'm gonna go to Instagram to do it. And then Facebook Meta is like, now we're gonna monetize that. So they're like, we're gonna go to TikTok. So like a keep generation, they're gonna keep moving and grinding to different locations, and eventually it's gonna get decentralized. And there's already,
Yes.
I saw something on the hackathon that for Lens Protocol, which is a decentralized exchange, because we're still working on Twitter, we're still working on Discord. They're centralized locations, but Lens Protocol is the first one that's been really incentivizing to make a true decentralized protocol. And then, Patreon, like if you have your followers, so now they have super fluid streams to Lens accounts. So now you can get funded decentralized with no matter who it is, and no one can stop you. And that's, I think, super cool. And those are the things I'm trying to help contribute to build.
Yeah, man. Lens Protocol is dope. When I first caught wind that the Aave, team were sort of working towards this, I've been following it, and between the Lens Protocol and, I mean, a little bit what you're describing there, and this is, Layer Zero, I'm very interested to learn more about how all this sort of cross-chain writing is possible and how you could actually have a social media platform.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, yeah, it was a little over my head when I first, because I just had a hackathon before that. Very web front end heavy. So like I didn't really get to mess with the contracts, and my web front end was pretty weak. It kind of like, man, I really need to step up my front end game. So that's been my focus as of late. Like, not so much contracts, but more front end and interconnection between that. But their basic premise is you create a profile, and that's kind of set into an NFT. Then that NFT is now your identity, and where you get content, you could throw content from and everything, so they can kind of pinpoint not necessarily your identity, but your wallet in your Lens Protocol identity. And then they can support your NFT through a stream, or you can do a live peer with, decentralized video, go live, basically, shutting out all these centralized organizations, and really, really making something really cool. And they put $250,000 up in prizes in this last one. So it really incentivized people to really build off of it. So there was a lot of cool ideas coming out of it.
Sorry, just to make sure, this hackathon you just referred to, this was Lens Protocol, right?
Yeah, it was the one just before the DAO hacks one. This was the Lens Protocol hack that was about 2-3 weeks ago, and then the DAO hacks was like a little weekend event that was about DAOs. Each hackathon they have has a certain theme. The next one coming up in a few weeks is Hack Money, so it's going to be more DeFi, and we'll see who the sponsors are. And like, I like doing these hackathons because it really forces me. Like, I don't like doing the same thing over and over again, but I like implementing things that I have learned. So like, I'll jump into something totally brand new. That way, it forces me to learn. Like this time, I learned the graph and DAO structure. And you know what? Shout out. I'm already talking shit to myself. Shout out to Learn Web3 DAO. I watched one of their streams. The guy there, God, I'm gonna sound like fucking such a dickhead because I can't remember his name, but he only had one name. It was like Habib Hassimi or something like that. I don't remember, but and I'm gonna be so off, and then be like, damn, this guy's a racist. But I remember it's like Hakeem or Hasim or something like that, and he only had one name. He didn't have a last name legally. Like, he only had one name, like Madonna. But In his 30-minute demo of contract creation, he explained to me in 30 minutes on contract DAOs than anybody has ever explained to me in my life, and it made sense instantly. Like people have tried to explain like DAOs a contract for me. Like DAOs in general it makes sense, but like putting it into a contract and like getting the proposals passed and voting and how that all works. He was able to explain it to me in 30 minutes on a video stream. I didn't even ask any questions. I was just watching him go. And it made so much sense that I was able to implement that to a Superfluid stream, fork that contract, make my adjustments, make proposals. And like that was huge. Like big shout out to them if anybody ever catches me. And if I destroy your name, I apologize.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I really appreciate that. Obviously, myself as an educator, hearing that someone can sort of condense a complex and impactful lesson. Yeah, we can direct people to their site. We got it up on the screen right now. This is a project specifically aimed at developers. Is that right?
Yes, their goal is to basically free education for all. Again, like I'm United States based, so like education in essence comes fairly easy. I mean, a lot of the stories I heard from the Learn Web3 DAO guys are like guys that like have to learn on their cell phone and program on their cell phone. And the stories that I hear, like these guys struggle through. So their goal is to basically educate everybody around the world. It doesn't matter if, you're a businessman in New York or if you're a little girl in like Afghanistan, that just has barely any internet. They want to be able to reach anybody and give everybody an opportunity for free. And this last round, they got a couple funding rounds. And they were, giving money to their supporters. They weren't keeping it. They were giving money to their supporters, which was really awesome. So I've joined them. I want to be more active with them as well. It's just time is my enemy. But I mean, these guys are the real deal. And I mean, like for teachers, I mean, I was a decent student at school, but I had a lot of struggles, try to understand concepts. But it never occurred to me that there were really bad teachers. And if you fail, is it really your fault or is it your teacher's fault? Given that you put a little bit of effort. And I saw the funniest meme that I could relate to is like the American school system and the teacher saying, "You're an idiot." And then there's an Indian man saying, "Come here, my son, let me teach you in 5 minutes." And it is so fucking true that I have learned more YouTube than some random Indian guy teaching me coding than anybody here in the States, which is insane.
Dude, it's the truth, man. And that's coming from somebody who's an educator. Yeah, I'm a veteran. It's fucked up. The shit's fucked up. Byzantine complexity, brother. Like self-justifying bureaucratic nonsense. That's what you're basically dealing with. And don't get me started on that shit. But I see here that they are also using the soulbound NFTs, huh? And this is sort of like built into their curriculum, more or less, like little like leveling up gamification.
Yeah. Non-transferable NFTs. Everybody has their own implementation with it, and there's one big issue with that I think Bright ID and I think one other group is trying to do fix that. Is the big problem is your identity on these non-transferable tokens are tied to your wallet. So my wallet 777 whatever is here, and that works. And like maybe I can get education, I got certificates, blah blah blah. I'm a Web3 developer. But let's say my wallet gets compromised. Well, now I no longer have access to that wallet. So I've lost all those credentials. So if they're non-transferable, what do I do? And then I'm anonymous. So I can't just go back and say, "Hey, it's me, guys. It's,
Right.
Just give me those credentials." I have to go back and redo all that stuff. So what the guys at Bright ID did with Soulbound is they actually leverage ID chain. So the Soulbound project that I was working on with them is, no one wallet is tied to your Bright ID. Your Bright ID is your anonymous person. And so you can have multiple wallets tied to that, Bright ID identity. And just, I just saw they teamed up with Orange Protocol too. So like that's super awesome. They're working on like decentralized identities, like we're all trying to solve a problem with anti-symbols. And they're one step closer. But going back to non-transferable tokens, is they can use ID chain based on your Bright ID identity, and then pull that token, that non-transferable token, out of that wallet and rescue it and deploy it to a new token. And they've gone live and they've done that. So we were able to pull out for a dead wallet, bring that NFT, and then put it into a new wallet, which is pretty dope.
Dope, man. That's really cool. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm thinking, just thinking out loud, man. We have to reach out to these folks, maybe clip a little bit of highlights from this episode or something like that. We can push it out on Twitter and then like see if they'll join us. You can have a guest
Oh
on
yeah,
here
the Web
talk
three
a
DAO
little bit.
guys
So
are
yeah,
awesome.
man. I'm gonna flash up this Bright ID Medium article, by the way, with Orange. Man, come on now, the Orange protocol. What is this? Yeah, can you give us like the TLDR on this partnership here?
Just anti-Sybil attacks, proof of humanity without giving up your identity. Like proof of humanity itself, that project, just a cool project for UBI. But the number one thing that, and some people are okay with it, but some people are not, is you have to dox yourself. You have to take a self picture, prove that you are a human. All right.
Right.
But, and, we don't know if that could ever be compromised. Let's say, consensus buys them and takes them over. Well, now, oh, you took a picture in Venezuela, or you took a picture in Cuba, Russia. You're no longer able to get this universal basic income.
Correct.
Who knows? With Bright ID and an Orange is like, now you have a proof of humanity, but without doxing yourself. And I think that's a very important protection of our privacy in general.
It is.
Like, yeah, like people are still kind of the concept of like, and I get it, like username and password, sign up to our account. I sign up to things too. We're not there yet because people still need a way to reach back out to the client in a sense, your customer database. But basically, you're giving up your information in a trade of whatever they're giving you in a sense. And with Bright ID is they're not really trying to do that. But the problem is when you become anonymous, now you can exploit everything. Like you can get in line twice for UBI, 3 times, 4 times. You can create bots to collect, like the honey drip. There's bots already creating with Sybil, basically Sybil attack on it. Gitcoin has Sybil attacks. Everybody's trying to take advantage of the situation when there's somebody giving out something for free. So what Bright ID and Orange are trying to do is kind of close that gap. It's nothing's perfect, and there's other people trying to do it. But I really like what Bright ID is doing, and honestly, it was the NFV's project that brought me closer to them and to work with them. There's another thing in the works. I'm not going to give it too much alpha, but I am a part of that project too. So, but there's going to be something cool that's going to use ID chain, and again, it's a non-transferable token that can be rescued in a sense.
Very cool. Very practical. I love it, man.
So yeah. I mean, gosh, just talking about consensus, man. I mean, I just found out they have this whole like wallet tracking, token tracking thing. For those that don't know, Consensus owns MetaMask, Infura, Truffle, Quorum, a lot of tools. They're kind of like a lot of these Web3 guys are kind of teaming up with the government in a sense. Unfortunately, it kind of like what crypto was designed to beat. They're teaming up for money.
Surprise.
MetaMask was a crazy one because they're blocking out Venezuelan IPs, and yeah, you can get around with, but it just kind of like rubs me the wrong way. Like that, crypto was about universal, and the hardcore guys will be anti-government, and I think we have to have a happy medium. We can't be total hardcore, and there's I don't think anybody I know personally is nefarious that does anything out of that like crazy out there, but we forget the rights to privacy that we have. If I have a friend in Venezuela and I want to send him money because he's starving, I should be able to. If I want to send money to Cuba or Russia, just because you were born there has nothing to do with what the leaders that you may not even voted for. You maybe been a baby when U.S. and your country was fighting. You had no choice but where you were built, and then you get paid for it. So I think anything we can do to avoid that and break away the middleman is the best. I mean, crypto to me is destroying the middleman. And when you do that and you get, a bunch of useless middlemen that don't get to pick your pocket, you're going to get a lot of lashback, and there's going to be a lot of negativity, and there's going to be a lot of attacks. And I think that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. And it's just going to get worse, until we win or we sell out.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's certainly a core of people that are going to stick it out. It's funny because it's like this is one of those things where when you think about true militant resistance to centralized authority, that's where, however much on a daily basis I might hate Bitcoin maximalism. Like there's something to that ethos where, if push comes to shove, there will be people who will resist, whether they're in one community, so to speak, or the other. But, when you see, here it is, I'm live on screen, trusted by the world's leading organizations on the consensus homepage, and you see AWS and Procter and Gamble, it sure doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, Billy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's something that I really try to educate. Like, I'm happy if you're making money. Congratulations, man. I'm here to make money too. No question. Like, anything extra, anything that will help me uh, improve my quality of life, I'm here for it. But I could do the same thing for a corporation in a sense. And if we're just trying to rinse repeat the same thing but with a more expensive database, then I'm not for it. Like, this is supposed to be about change. This is the new generation's chance to break away from the old. Let's not fuck it up.
Yeah, man, that was one of my I don't know, important inflection points, and without any technical experience, just coming to understand how much slower and more expensive blockchain is among sort of database options. And so, like, if you're not going to use it for purposes that necessitate or require censorship resistance, what the fuck are we doing, right? In effect.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I try to push to people is like, all right, like NFBs have, we have NFB.xyz that's registered to a registrar, right? But I also have an ENS registrations that eat that link. So if we ever get shut down from the internet, I mean, there's no reason for us to shut down. But let's say I said the wrong thing, the wrong political person heard me talking. Is like, I don't like this guy, shut him down. The NFBs can never be shut down because now we're on a decentralized exchange on the eat that link. And I think everybody should do that. Like DXDAO, we spoke that earlier. Like, they can never be shut down because they are truly decentralized on a totally separate network that they can't get their hands on. The moment they do, then we lost the fight.
Right, right. Well, and this is where, again, I don't know sufficient technical. I don't have sufficient technical knowledge to like differentiate between, say, Infura or Coinbase Cloud or Pocket. Right. And as far as the back end infrastructure is concerned, I'd be curious to know, like, what are the best options from your perspective, if you wanted to deploy a chain.
Oh, well, I'll be honest. I still use MetaMask, but I don't use any of the swap. I use the interface. I also use Frame. I also use Minerva Wallet. But I don't use too many Infura APIs, which when you install MetaMask, it comes in default with all the APIs for Infura with MetaMask. You can change that over to Anchor, which is more decentralized. If you feel a little bit easier, you can always use Alchemy. And there's a couple other ones on there, but Alchemy or Anchor is probably your next best bet.
Right on.
So, but for the average person that downloads MetaMask and just start using it, you're using Infura, and you will never know the difference because it's already built in and it works, unless you leave the country or you leave a zone which is no longer workable. And that's the shitty part, But that's kind of the goal. What we're trying to do, just educate people that there are options out there. But people are creatures of habit too, and if they feel comfortable with something, it's hard to get people to move from where they're comfortable for until they get fucked.
Yeah, true enough, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my goal of like reaching out to these other communities. I'm like, you guys are teaching some cool stuff, but let me tell you what really happens. And then a lot of people have that Web 2 mentality. Like, I still listen to Spaces, and I listen to a lot of like traditional finance bros, and like, oh, this is what we have to do and everything. And everyone wants intellectual property. And I'm going to tell you something, people don't want to work. I'll tell you this right now. But, the focus is really, a lot of the onboarding people are really focusing on NFTs. And if crypto goes down pretty large, then a lot of people are going to feel that burn, and it's going to suck for them because they're not going to be very liquid. So like I'm trying to get people like, hey, get an ENS name. Now you can take payments. You can send payments to somebody else, and work that. Like, try to away from the centralized systems. Like, Coinbase is really trying to hit Latin America with their Coinbase Latino or whatever they call it, where you can send money to like Mexico, and then they can cash out on an ATM, and they can convert crypto to cash. And while that's good right now, my long-term goal is never cash out. Just have everybody else accept crypto. Get rid of the middleman, because Coinbase is making fees on that. Get rid of the middleman. Go crypto to crypto. I mean, it's not happening yet. It doesn't make sense. I totally get that. But the end goal in your mind should never be cash back out to fiat. Stay in the chain.
Yeah, man, the sort of USDC off ramps for retailers and stuff are exciting to me. I mean, I know that there's going to be some transaction value extraction or whatever there, but the ability to execute payments on chain, even if it is with a stable coin, is better than what we have now, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then again, like fuck Western Union. They've been ripping people off for years trying to send money out of the country. Latin America, Europe, anywhere. I mean, they're taking a huge fee, and it takes forever. That needs to change already. But like, I fear it's going to be like the oil industry that buys patents for stuff and then buries it, and like it's taken so long for us to go electric car. People are so worried about the earth, but if it hurts the pockets, all of a sudden it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, this was, I don't know, I saw this headline. I think it was referring to something you mentioned earlier about Coinbase. I don't know if it was Bitso that partnered with USDC or Circle, which obviously by extension is Coinbase, to like facilitate cross-border payments to Mexico, something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah, they're really pushing it hard too, and it's a good thing. I like it. It you don't need to use Western Union anymore. That's been ripping people off,
Yep,
which
yep.
is great. But we're just going from one centralized location to another one. And what I don't like about it, and this is what corporate people do, and I think I mentioned this on a Discord, is when you're waving the flag of whatever, like for Mexico or whatever thing, corporate doesn't put Mexico on the board on Coinbase. There's no Coinbase Mexico where people are doing this. They're just cashing out on this opportunity. They're hiring Latino guy to be the front man for this, that does the minimum job, that gets paid the minimum to be the front man, to go to all these groups and say, hey, Coinbase has this, these things, and now you can send money to your parents and blah, blah, blah. But it's again a zero sum game. Like, now you're using this protocol. Now you're sending money. Coinbase is making fees. What is everybody else getting? Like, nobody gets on the table as Coinbase. Like, no one gets a seat at the table. In like a DAO, if you start promoting stuff, you get paid. If you start using it, you get paid in tokens. Like, there's a just different kind of incentivized feeling. So we're replacing one evil character. I don't want to say Coinbase is evil, but with a lesser evil. It feels like I'm voting for the president when we have another option where we say, hey, let's start a DAO. Let's make it decentralized. Anybody that puts into it and starts using it benefits from the system.
I hear you, man. Yeah, and there's always whoever's facilitating these shifts are always going to be trying to extract some type of profit. Which I guess if you built the infrastructure to make it possible, you charge the toll, particularly if it's less than the existing toll booth in Western Union, I guess.
Yeah, it's a totally benefit for almost everybody. But then it's just you replace the drug lord for another drug lord that's up and coming, in a sense. I think Armstrong is a good guy, and they have good intentions, but they are an American company and they do have to comply. And the moment something goes wrong or something, they're going to cut ties and they're going to fuck you.
Right, right.
I always tell everybody, American companies will always protect their bags before they protect their clients, and that's just how it goes here, and that's how it always will. So whenever you do business with someone, realize this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, you got to assume, right, that everybody's working an angle, trying to take advantage of
Yeah,
some
yeah,
possible
for sure. I
opening.
mean, and yeah, I don't blame any of it. I would use it. Like, if I had family in Mexico, I would use it for sure. But I would use it knowing, okay, this is how it's going to work, and this is what it is. But what is the next move after? Start promoting. The move would be go to Mexico, start promoting businesses. Hey, you don't have to pay a fee if you accept, Polygon chain on Matic or something, and now your fees, instead of being $2,000 a month, can be $5 a month, and you start using that, and then the volatility, but you can stable out, and things like that. Like, we just have to be educating more people on there. Like, these are the options that you do have. Obviously, there's going to be people that want to stick with fiat and that, but we're going to have a generation gap where people are going to be like, like, it's like people don't take cash anymore; they only do credit card. So I was like, oh, we don't take credit card; we only take crypto.
There'll be some people who will just exclusively do that. Yeah, I mean, I understand that stable coins to like a retail vendor are much more sustainable option, I guess, right? Like there's much more people who are, if you call it USDC or DAI or whatever it is, like the exit in a stable coin is much, I guess, more appealing over the long term than Bitcoin or say Ethereum. Even though I guess hopefully that would be possible, that requires I guess a bit more like P2P. I don't know, like concession on the retail side.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, like crypto is really good for the retailer, not good for the consumer. In a sense, once you sell money, money's gone. There's always the issues of
Right.
refunds and returns, and it costs money to return now because of the fees. But it's a change in the direction of like it doesn't work locally. It's not really beneficial, but globally, it's huge, and that's the issue. Like, if, it makes sense for me to send money on Venmo to a friend here then send him an Ethereum transaction for $20 and then he gets $1 at the end of it. It doesn't make any sense. But if I'm trying to send money to, a friend in like my cousin in England, and he needs to get it cash now, it makes way more sense for me to send Ethereum his way than it is to do any kind of transaction in the global bank system.
Yeah, man. I mean, my wife is actually from a different part of the world, and the ability to send a stable coin, balance to to her folks is much more. It's easier, faster, more secure, probably in some ways than using Western Union. And yeah, it's just preferable. It's in that point, like sort of convergence, where it's yes, it's both preferable but also more convenient, is where you get mass adoption, right? Like people are just going to prefer it automatically.
Yeah, and this is what I've been pushing is like just get an ENS name. Now I don't have to fuck up with a 0x whatever. It's like all right, it's your name .eth. Okay, cool. I'll send that over right away. It works for Ethereum, some Polygon. It's getting more adoption, and I think that's the way we really onboard people. But no one's talking about ENS. Everybody's still mad about the Christian guy. I'm like, get over it, guys. It's so crazy. Like people have to walk over eggshells with everybody. It's like, nah, I don't care. If you're not hurting anybody, I don't give a shit what you guys do, honestly. So, do whatever you want to do. If you want to go parade on the weekends, as whatever you want to be, then cool. But as long as you clock in Monday and I can send my ENS, we're good.
Right on, dude.
All right. Well, I'm almost to an end, but also I want to do a shout out to Moon Jelly. After our conversation 2 weeks ago about environmental, they reached out to me and wanted me to check out their space. Very cool project. Very cool. I've been talking like what they can and can't do at where they're at, what they're doing. I think it's a really good project that's even worth a shout out to what they're trying to do. I think their NFT model is interesting. I'm curious to see how that works. They're based on donations and people corporate donations and corporate buying for credits in a sense. So I think that's really cool. As for I keep comparing it cleaning up the beach, but it's a little bit more than that. But I think as a an average person that wants to help in and pitch out, I think that like that's probably the easiest thing I can think of is like assisting at cleaning up the beach, and they're incentivizing that. You coordinate with groups to fundraise, and then once that job is done, they put it in NFT, and corporations can then buy that as climate credits, and so everybody gets paid. Corporations, get their credits. The organizations get paid and they get funded, and the earth is cleaner, which is super cool. The big question is, once everything's clean, how do we do survive?
Yeah, dude. I a big fan of Moon Jelly. I'm sort of seriously biased here. I'm actually contributing on their team and look forward to contributing, into the future here. I think that they have quite a great powerhouse of founders, I would say. Like this is actually the first true example, at least in my experience, of like what I would say would otherwise be or otherwise launch as like a classic 501c3 NGO that is exploring the Web3 option. So I'm definitely curious to see how this all works out, and also that you're interested, man. I mean, this is one of the founders, Bryce Groark, sort of tried to coin the term decon. I know the refi is the hashtag right now, but I think what they're really trying to do is pioneer a way to decentralize the point of conservation to more local communities around the world, using the ocean as a starting point, but hopefully then like exporting best practices to other types of conservation efforts.
They are legit, and I definitely check them out. I believe they are on Giveth too, if you do want to support them. They're still in the early stages of it, but I mean, a good cause, and they have a decent model that kind of makes good sense. And once the world is clean, it's a good problem to have. Maybe whatever it is, but that's the goal. I mean, everybody's so environmental friendly. Like here, you can actually do something about it. On that note, that's how I have to close it out today. But always a good chat, T Wells, and 2 weeks is always like infinity in crypto world. So I'll have a whole bunch of shit to talk about next time too.
Man, this was a great chat. I learned a lot. Always do when I'm speaking with you, man. And whether it's from CBDCs over to Near Protocol and others, man, I look forward to following up next week. And yeah, dude, thank you, Billy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, you're gonna hear me cursing out Rust for sure because that's what Near and Solana work on, and like shit, that's gonna drive me crazy. Prepare for foul language.
Hey man, I look forward to the next time, Billy.
All right, guys. All right, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. And I'll put the right time next time too. Promise.
Cheers, folks.